Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I've got some incredibly important news to share with you today regarding some major changes that are coming to Universal Credit and Personal Independence Payment, PIP, in April. These updates are huge, and they could affect a lot of people, whether you're receiving these benefits right now or you're planning to claim them in the future. With so many changes taking place, it's crucial that you fully understand how they could impact your finances and your day-to-day life. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on this information. So, let's dive right in. First of all, for anyone who's not familiar with Universal Credit, it's a benefit designed to support people who are unemployed or on a low income. It replaced several different benefits like job seekers allowance, housing benefit, and others, streamlining the process into one monthly payment. And if you're receiving Universal Credit, it's important to know that there are some big changes coming to how it's calculated and who's eligible for certain parts of it. The government has announced that these changes are going to affect many people starting in April, so we need to take a closer look. Let's start with one of the biggest changes, the Work Capability Assessment. Right now, when you apply for Universal Credit and you have health problems or a disability, the DWP, Department for Work and Pensions, assesses your capability to work and places you into one of two categories, Limited Capability for Work, LCW, or Limited Capability for Work and Work-Related Activity, LCWRA. If you're placed into one of these groups, you receive a higher payment to help support your additional needs. Well, from April onwards, the government will be tightening the criteria for these assessments. What does this mean? Essentially, they want to ensure that only those who absolutely need additional support will continue to receive the extra money. This means that some people who are currently in these groups might find themselves reassessed and move to a different category, or, in the worst-case scenario, might lose some of the additional payments they were previously receiving. The DWP says this will ensure that the support goes to those who need it most. But if you're someone who currently receives these higher payments, this change could lead to a reduction, which might be quite a financial strain. The big question is, how will the DWP determine who stays in the LCW or LCWRA group and who doesn't? They haven't released full details yet, but it looks like the new assessments will be stricter in terms of how health conditions are evaluated. The government has argued that these changes will make the system more efficient, but many people are concerned that it could leave some vulnerable people without the support they need. If you're someone who's been receiving Universal Credit with the higher rates, it's really important to keep an eye on any letters or notifications you might receive from the DWP about your upcoming assessment. If you feel that the new assessment criteria might affect you negatively, it's worth reaching out to a benefits advisor to get some support and to ensure that you're fully prepared for any changes. Now, let's talk about the Universal Credit taper rate. If you're currently on Universal Credit and you start earning money from a job, the taper rate determines how much of your benefit is gradually reduced as you earn more. In the past, the government had set the taper rate fairly high, meaning that people would lose their benefits pretty quickly as their income rose. Well, one of the major announcements the government has made is that the taper rate will now be lowered. This is great news for anyone who's currently working or planning to work while claiming Universal Credit, as it means you'll be able to keep more of your benefit money as your earnings increase. The idea behind this change is that it will provide a better incentive for people to take on more hours or earn more money without the fear of losing their benefits too quickly. With the new taper rate, you'll effectively be able to work more hours or increase your income without seeing a steep drop in the support you receive. For example, if you're working part-time and claiming Universal Credit, this change could make it easier for you to gradually increase your hours, and you'll still receive some help from the government to make up the difference. While this might sound like a positive change, it's worth noting that this could also be part of a broader strategy to push more people into the workforce as the government seeks to lower unemployment rates. Still, for people who are already working, it's a welcome update. Alongside these changes, the DWP is also planning to introduce stricter work search requirements. Right now, if you're claiming Universal Credit, you have to show that you're actively looking for work or participating in work-related activities. But starting in April, the government is raising the expectations for claimants to show that they are doing more to find work. This means that you may be required to demonstrate that you're looking for a certain number of jobs each week, or that you're taking part in work preparation activities like training or volunteering. For people who are currently receiving universal credit but aren't actively seeking work, this could be a pretty big change. If you're someone who's been on universal credit and you're not required to look for work right now, the new rules could force you to start job hunting or face sanctions. Sanctions are penalties that can result in reductions to your universal credit payments if you don't meet certain work-related requirements. While the government argues that these changes will help people get back into work faster, it's also raised concerns about the pressure it will put on claimants who may not be able to work or who are struggling with their health. The bottom line here is that if you're claiming universal credit, you need to be prepared to meet the new work search expectations. That means updating your job search records, engaging with job agencies, and staying proactive in showing that you're looking for work if that applies to you. The government has been pushing the idea that getting people back into work is key to improving the overall economy, and these changes seem to be in line with that mission. Now, let's move on to PIP, Personal Independence Payment. If you're someone with a disability or a long-term health condition, PIP provides extra financial help to cover the additional costs of living with a disability. This benefit is crucial for millions of people across the country. But the DWP is making significant changes to the way they assess PIP claims starting in April, and it's going to affect a lot of people. One of the most significant changes is the new assessment process. If you're already claiming PIP, you know that the assessment process can be time-consuming and, frankly, stressful. Well, the government is introducing a more streamlined approach to the way these assessments will work. The goal is to make the process more transparent and efficient for everyone involved. But it's also important to understand that this new assessment may not necessarily make it easier to qualify for PIP. In fact, it could end up making it more difficult for some claimants to get the support they need. The DWP is changing the criteria they use to assess daily living and mobility needs. Right now, you're assessed based on your ability to carry out specific tasks related to your health condition or disability. The new criteria are going to be more stringent, which means that some people who were previously awarded PIP might find that they no longer meet the requirements under the updated system. It's a scary thought, especially if you rely on PIP to help cover the costs of daily life. But that's not all. There's also going to be a shift in the frequency of PIP reassessments. Currently, many claimants are asked to undergo reassessments every couple of years, even if their condition hasn't changed. Starting in April, the DWP will be reducing the frequency of these reassessments, particularly for people with long-term, stable conditions. If you're someone who's been claiming PIP for years and your condition hasn't changed, this could be a relief. You might not have to go through the assessment process every couple of years anymore, which should help ease the stress. However, for those who do have a changing condition, the DWP will still be requiring assessments, and some people may be asked to provide more evidence to prove that they still qualify. This could make things more difficult for people whose conditions fluctuate over time. So, whether you're someone with a long-term condition or a fluctuating one, you need to stay informed and ready for potential reassessments. The PIP changes also include updates to the appeals process. If you disagree with a decision on your PIP claim, you can appeal it. The DWP is looking to streamline the appeals process, which sounds like a positive move, but there are some concerns about how it might play out in reality. Many people who appeal PIP decisions find the process to be complicated and stressful, and there's a fear that the changes could make it even harder for claimants to get the right result. If you disagree with a PIP decision, it's important to be prepared for the appeals process and seek guidance if needed. So, what can you do to prepare for these big changes to Universal Credit and PIP? First and foremost, stay informed. Review the DWP's official guidance to understand how these changes will impact you, and if you're unsure, reach out to a benefits advisor or a support service. They can give you tailored advice based on your specific situation. If you're worried that your eligibility for Universal Credit or PIP could change, start planning ahead financially. Budgeting now could help you adjust to any potential reductions in support. And don't forget, if you're ever uncertain or feel that your benefits claim hasn't been handled properly, there are organizations and legal services that can offer support. You don't have to navigate this process alone. Alright, that's a wrap for today's video. These changes to Universal Credit and PIP are big, and they could impact a lot of people, so make sure you're prepared. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any future updates. And if you have any questions or concerns about these changes, feel free to leave a comment below. I'm always here to help. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.